I said, whatever has happened today, what if an entire generation comes up and they can never forget and forgive that incident? 2002 happened, and I've been, for some strange reason, I've been always have this proximity to being where all these events have taken place. I was at the Babri Masjid when 26/11 happened, Colaba, of course. 1984, I was in Delhi.
So one is advised to keep away from you.
You absolutely, Anil. But it really got me thinking that what if there are people out there who can't forgive and forget, and that was the starting point of the book. You know, that was the idea, that was the point where the terrorist was really born, you know. So that's the backdrop which I really wanted to mention. The book is not about the masjid, it's not about 2002. It's just a backgrounder to the book. The book is about something else completely. Just a background.
You want to read now? Or?
Yeah, I'll read. The masjid, I'll just read this passage. Extreme suffering has a way of clarifying your mind, Murad. Sana spoke at length. The choices in front of you become stark, crystal clear. There is no room for indecision. The perpetrators of the violence at my uncle's place in Faizabad were never caught. Later, there was even denial of the existence of such an officer from the paramilitary force ranks. As in all such things, the matter was hushed up and forgotten, save for a reluctant FIR note written in a dusty file. In a savagely ironic way, all this suited my mother fine. My mother was reborn the day she survived that ordeal. For days on end after her rescue, she would sit quietly, introspecting, almost serene. Like a grim survivor from a near-death experience, she adapted and emerged a different person. Her inherent humanity and trust were replaced by a new cunningness and ruthless desire to wage war against the state. And what better way than to maintain the outer garb of an articulate, westernized minority politician, to cloak her single-minded determination to carry out subterfuge and inflict terror on the enemies of our cause. Her milk of human kindness dried up forever. Every target, protected or vulnerable, was fair game after that. In no time, we had a network going with links in various states, Pakistan and even London.
Well, Murad was mentioned there is the protagonist. He is in fact the man who becomes the terrorist. And what I find is that you built up a whole scenario where his becoming a terrorist from being a very, almost a gentle kind of person who works in an office. He's a computer expert and he has his own ambitions. He's in fact falls in love with one of his office girls who is a Hindu, who falls in love with him. And at every stage, the fact that he is Muslim comes in the way. Comes in the way of his love life, it comes in the way of him keeping his job and so on. And you can see the frustration building up in him. Frustration building up in someone who has absolutely no leanings towards violence or towards terrorism. And I think that is important.
That's important, absolutely. Yeah.
And his mirror image, so to speak, is Suvir, who is the man who will ultimately be pitted against Murad. So we have these two characters who become extremely strong and extremely violent. And Suvir has joined the special forces, and his job is to catch Murad, who then goes over to the other side, goes over to Pakistan, is trained there and so on, and to carry out, I don't think I'm giving away too much, a huge number of simultaneous terrorist attacks on Delhi. A bit like the Bombay attacks.
A bit like 26/11, yeah.
Now tell me, all these characters are completely from your imagination?
Yeah, I would say completely from my imagination. Though, you know, as being a former journalist, I'm not a practicing journalist any longer. There have been a lot of instances which I've taken from real life characters, because I've always believed in the concept that if you want to make something very interesting, then you have to tread this fine line between fiction and reality. And that's what I've tried to do out here.
But I can believe in Murad very well because he really has so many circumstances going against him. And I think most human beings would crack when, subjected to hindrances all along the way. And you're pushed to the brink. Why? Because of your religion. And that's the only reason. Because personally he's a very, very, very nice guy. And I think someone who a lot of people liked.
Correct.
But I can't understand the character of Suvir,
Yeah.
who is the Hindu and the guy who joins the special forces, because he's extremely violent. And I don't know if such people exist.
Suvir is a very complicated character, and he's complicated because of his background and his relationship with his mother. So I've tried to explore that relationship. It's a very interesting relationship. Without giving too much away, he hates his mother, and there are reasons for that. A lot of that violence which comes within him, which festers within him, is something which it grows during the time when he's in the family. When all that is going on between his parents. So he takes in that violence and internalizes it, and it's growing within him. And when he goes into the special forces, he cannot understand how to control that violence. So yes, there might be a point where you can say that he is violent for the heck of it, But that's not really the case. There's a certain reason why he acts or the way he is. I'd also like to say one thing more about Suvir. Suvir is also the journey of a lot of young men today. A lot of young people are confused. They really don't know what they want in life. And through an entire process, through an entire journey, when he completely understands that this is what I have to do in life, there's a certain clarity which comes his way, and he understands that. But yes, the journey is very, very violent. I agree with that.
Now there's also a lot of violence in the actual training of these special forces. They're subjected to such hardships. It is unimaginable the kind of training they go through. Now, is this something you've actually gleaned from the truth, or is again your imagination?
Anil, when the time I was in DD News, I used to have the defense beat for a short time. So I have been to a lot of army installations. This training which I am describing is partly true. I'm not saying that it is exactly the way they train the special forces, but it is partly true. And whether you like it or not, they are subjected to, there's a lot of violence which they see all around them. But the point is, they have to be the important thing is that if there's violence around you, if there is a conflict around you, then can you control yourself? Then can you be objective about the entire thing? So that's the challenge, I think, not only in front of Suvir, but in fact for any commando or any special forces man.
Yes, but the kind of training that is given, and you have described in great detail, one or two people get killed also.
Oh yes. And that's
what
true.
kind of training is that? You're going to kill people?
I know, you should ask the army about that, but...
No, but is that actually happening?
That actually happens. Because all these guys, they have to sign a bond and all that, so the army claims no responsibility. That's a fact. If you are killed during training or something happens to you, it's not the responsibility of the army. And it's like